Hi, my name is Charlie Thorburn. Welcome to Mordor Gundogs. On this video, we're going to talk about the sit whistle. Okay, now the sit whistle is really important whether your dog is going to be a working dog or just a family pet. And the reason it's really important is like the emergency brake to regain control. It's like you grabbing the handbrake and slamming on the foot brake of the car just to regain control of your car because you're going too fast, you're losing control, you're like, oh, I need to stop. When it's trained well and properly, it will be more effective than a recall whistle. And the reason it will always be more effective is because it's a more precise command, and you can be more precise in how you train it, and you can be more precise in how much you accept or don't accept errors or ignoring you from the dog's part. And what I mean by that is if I just, as an example, if I'm walking away, okay, and someone calls me back, they call me back now, I could turn around and come straight back. But generally, the momentum of me carrying on going, they'll call me back and then I'll go, oh yeah, I'll go back, and I'll do it sort of more slowly. From a dog's point of view, they're running along, they get called back and they're like, yeah, I'm just going to sniff this and then I'll be coming back. And it's very hard because they're 30, 40 yards away. It's very hard to say, I don't want you to take those extra 2 paces. I want you to come back as soon as you hear the whistle. It's really hard to enforce that. Almost impossible to do it to the precise degree that, they turn at the exact spot and come back to you rather than taking a few extra paces or an extra 5 or an extra 10. The sit whistle, however, if I blow a whistle and I tell a dog to sit on that leaf just there and they're not, I can take them from over here and put them on that leaf. Then I tell them to sit on that leaf again. I can take them from over there, I can put them back on that leaf because I've got an exact point of reference. So if they don't stop, they move over there, I come over, I collect them, I take them back to there, I repeat the command, and I do this over and over again until they learn that if they don't stop on that exact point, they're simply going to be removed back to the point from where they've gone, and we are relentless and are not going to give up. So they only have one option, and that one option is to listen to us or just constantly have a battle with us, which they don't want to do. The other thing is, as we'll show you in the video, one of the methods we use for encouraging dogs to sit at a whistle is by throwing a ball as we blow the whistle. So we're creating a situation where there's a reason that the dog instantly wants to turn around, stop and watch, because as they stop, the ball gets thrown. So if they carry on going, they'll miss the opportunity of getting the retrieve. Whereas, as I say, with the recall, it's much harder to do that because if you throw a ball, they're not going to come back to you, are they? They're going to run off and chase the ball. Okay, so this is Hubie, and Hubie is quite a big Cocker Spaniel. He's about 8 months old, and he's here for a bit of extended boarding school. His owners have had a number of dogs off me before. So Hubie's got some basic obedience. He's doing pretty well. He's some sort of cousin of the famous Waffle. So what is the sit whistle? The sit whistle is about us blowing a whistle and the dog understanding that it means the same as the word sit and the same as your flat hand raised. Okay? So what we do is we do this repeatedly. We don't just blow the whistle at them a couple of times and go, oh, why haven't they got it? The whistle's kind of like the times table, okay? You're learning the times table. You don't just learn it in one maths lesson and then that's it. Every time you go into a maths lesson, 3 times 4, 7 times 6, 9 times 8, they're repeated. The questions are repeated over and over again. Every time you go to that maths lesson, your brain's thinking, we're going to be asked times table question. We need to get our brain in gear. This is what we want from the dog. We want him to go, right, the sit whistle, sit whistle, sit whistle, sit. We want him to just be thinking about that all the time, because basically what we want from the dog is we want them to sit so fast that it's like their legs are being cut off, okay? So as I blow that whistle, he just goes whoosh, and he puts his bum on the ground. And the only way we're going to do that is by repeating it. So we're going to walk down the track here and we're going to blow some of the whistles at him. And that whistle is a long, flat blast, and we want him to sit. So off we go, and I'll just show you how many times I do it in the space of about 50 yards. Heel. Heel. We're just repeating it over and over again. We're asking them to do it. If they don't do it, we're insisting they do it, but we're just going over it so many times that it becomes completely ingrained in their mind. Now, one of the other things that's really important with the whistle, and I'm sure I've talked about this before, when he's close to me, he's got pretty good hearing, okay, this guy, and all dogs do. I know spaniels especially have a reputation for being deaf or choosing to be deaf, but they're just, it's not that they can't hear you, it's they're choosing to ignore you. So Hubie. So when we blow that whistle and he's nice and close, we just blow it very gently. And what we want really is for him to stop on that whistle 20, 30 yards away at that volume, because then he's really listening to me. If I'm having to like yell, I'm having to blow the whistle really hard, I'm having to make a real effort, it's because he's not really engaged with me and he's not really listening. And every dog's different. So every dog's temperament and enthusiasm for you and enthusiasm for training is different. So we have to obviously be aware of that as well. But it's really key that, you know, you do this really simply. He's on a lead. We're just repeating it over and over again until he hopefully understands it. And then we can move on to stage number 2. So his Strike, he is a cousin of a Hubie and a cousin of Waffle. I think some of you are going to start thinking the only dogs we've got are Golden Cocker Spaniels. I promise we have lots of others. Just happens to be these, we've got a few of them at the moment at various different levels of training. Now, I've come down with Strike from the kennels. I've done exactly the same thing I did with Hubie. I've walked down with him on the lead. I've done sit whistle, sit whistle, sit whistle about 10 or 15 times. So he's got to hear and he knows he's doing sit whistle training. Okay, so the next stage is to have him off the lead and do exactly the same thing. Heel. 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 So repeating it over and over again until we're very confident that it's very much in his mind. So we've done it on the lead, then we do it off the lead. We're building up these small steps, okay? The tortoise always beats the hare. We're doing little incremental stages of getting better and better. If they don't pass one stage, we don't move on to the next stage, okay? They've got to pass every stage. Same thing, whistle's quiet. The whistle's quiet and gentle. The body language is exactly the same. As I blow the whistle, I'm coming around in front of him or to nearly in front of him. I'm there, I'm looking at him, he's looking at me. We're both engaged with each other. Sit. The next stage from there is I break my golden rule of never calling a dog off a sit. I call the dog, Strike. And on his way to me, I blow the sit whistle. Sit. So I call the dog, Strike, and I blow the whistle. Now, body language is really important at this point. There's 2 very simple versions of international obvious body language. They work with humans and horses and cows and sheep and dogs and everything else. If you put pressure on someone, obviously you want them to stop, okay? If you take the pressure off, you obviously want them to come. It's very simple. So going towards and making yourself big, you're saying stop. Being low and encouraging, you're asking them to come with you. So it's important that your body language is very different. We've got to have these Jekyll and Hyde personality where we go from very positive to negative, very strong to very soft. We're very extreme, especially with young dogs, because we need to be. We're having this extreme personalities. We're very gentle. We're very assertive. We're very encouraging. We're very negative. We're just making sure the dogs really understand. If we kind of go, no, don't do that. Yes, come with me. It's not obvious enough. It's got to be, no, stop. Yes, come. It's got to be very clear to them, and they will react accordingly to how obvious and clear the instruction is. So I'm just going to do one more of those from the side. Sit, so you can see it. So we call him to us. And you can see my body language change there. You can see me going from good boy to sit. And so he really understands what I'm trying to get him to do. The next phase is we're going to do a little bit with Strike, and then we're going to change dogs again just to show you a different dog. But we just encourage them to run around, and then we use our same body language again. Strike, come on then. Good boy. Strike. Good boy. Good boy. And if he doesn't do it, we go over and we correct him. We do something about it. We don't stand there going, oh, what are we meant to do now? We do something about it. We've got to be quick. We've got to be on the ball. So one of the things that is really key with training dogs to do anything is make sure you know what your plan is before you start. How are you going to react if the dog doesn't listen? What are you going to do if the dog doesn't listen? What are you going to do if the dog does listen? Much as I say we make it up as we go along, we also have a plan as to how we're going to react. I don't sit there thinking, what am I meant to do next? I've already got that in my head figured out. So I know what I'm going to do. And there's not that much to think about. He's either going to do it right or is he either going to do it wrong? And if we've got an answer for both, we're in pretty good shape. So when we've gone through the motions of just teaching them what it is, sitting with the whistle on the lead, then off the lead, when they're close by, when they're coming towards us, and we're just ingraining that you have to sit because I've told you to sit. There is no negotiations, there's no, this is an equal relationship, it's I'm in charge, I've told you to sit. Once they've learnt that, we then want to flip it round and we want to make them understand why we want them to sit. And the reason we want to do that is because any of us, if we're told to do something just because we're told to, we're not going to do it as well as if we're told, we're explained, and we get on board and go, oh, I get it. I want to help. I want to make that work better. And so that's what we have to try and do with the dog. So the first thing is to make it fun, but also not just making it fun, but making it have a positive outcome for little Strike here. So we're going to let him run around in front of us. As I blow the whistle, I'm going to throw the ball initially over my head so that if he tries to get it, I can stop him. But I'm going to throw the ball, and then he learns every time he hears that whistle, the ball gets thrown. And then there's a retrieve, and then there's a positive thing. And then he's like, ah, so I sit, I see the retrieve, I get to go and get it. Further down the line, I flush the pheasant, it gets shot, I get to go and retrieve it. It doesn't matter if that's not where you're heading with your dog, it's just to give you an example, but it's so that he understands the outcome and the reason we're stopping him. Strike. Come on. Strike. Good boy, good boy. Yeah. Now you'll notice even when he's just at my feet, I always use that whistle. When it's in my mouth, I'm always using it because the more I repeat it, the more he hears it and the better he gets at it. So I did do a little bit of running around, a little bit of quartering. Then I stopped him, and as I stopped him, I threw the ball. So he's like, oh, there's the ball, and he's getting a positive for his work. Strike. Good boy. Good boy. And you can see he's having fun. It's great now. Again, as I've talked about before, I'm letting some of his delivery and some of that slide a little bit because that's not the purpose of this lesson. I'm not worrying too much about his delivery because I don't want to take away his enthusiasm for sitting. So this is the next stage, and we're just basically repeating this like we did with the sit whistle on the lead. We're just repeating it over and over again. And the more we do it, the further away we start to do it, and then we can really build into some much more complicated stuff. And we'll show you that with an older dog who's at the next level. So at the moment where Strike is he comes out, he practices on the lead like Hubie does and like Waffle does, and then he gets off the lead and he does a few when he's close, and then he starts to hunt, and we do it when he's hunting, and we throw a ball. As he stops, we throw the ball so that works in unison, so they hear that whistle and they start to go, not, oh, I've got to sit, oh, there's going to be a retrieve. And they're looking for that whistle with enthusiasm rather than just oh, he's going to tell me what to do again. Okay? So we're trying to build on that, on the using his enthusiasm and his having fun to get something out of it. It's one of the rules with cockers, if I'm honest, is if they know they're being trained, they don't want to do it. If you tell a Labrador to do something, they'll go, okay, Dad, I'll try and do it. If you tell a Springer, they're like, okay, I'll try my hardest. You tell a Cocker, they're like, what, I have to do this? Oh, well, I'm not going to do it. No. If it's not fun for me, I'm not going to do it. So you got to make it all about them and them having a game, them having fun, and that's the best way to get. It works with every dog, but particularly Cockers, the best way to get things out of them is to make sure they're having fun. Hey, Strikey, good boy. When we're training dogs, what we're trying to do always with young dogs who are learning, is we're trying to set them up to succeed. So we're practicing on the lead on the way down. We're practicing in close quarters in the field. We're doing it so we're like, with Little Strike and Hubie and Waffle, we're thinking, how can we get them to get this right? What's the best strategy to help them get this right? We then get to the stage, this is Row, we get to the stage with a dog where we have to take the plunge and say, you should now know this. You've done enough of this that you should know. And I haven't been out with Row today training. I haven't been out with her yesterday because I spent 7 hours bicycling around Loch Leven in aid of charity. So she hasn't had a training session for a good few days. She definitely hasn't had a whistle blown at her for a good few days. So we brought her down here. She's raring to go, as you can see. Hey, settle down. So we're going to let her straight off into the sort of hunting environment where she's free. There was a pheasant here just a few minutes ago. So there's stuff going on. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to push her to her limits now. We're sort of going, right, you've not practiced. You've not had a whistle blown at you for a few days, if not longer than that. But we're expecting you still to be spot on because you're at that level. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So when they're learning, they're kind of really basic stuff. They're like a kid in primary school. And then they're a kid in main school where they're still being encouraged. Then university, they're allowing to sort of think for themselves a little bit. And now they're an adult. And it's like, you should just know how to do this. You shouldn't need guidance. Obviously, there's a limit to that. They're always going to need some guidance, but relatively they need less guidance, less practice. They should just be able to pick it up from where they left off a week ago, a month ago, and they should be pretty good to go. I'm not saying don't practice with your dogs. I'm just trying to get you to understand how we sort of set up the level of standards that we're looking for. Gone away. All right. Sit. Now, I've asked her to sit. She hasn't sat on her bottom. So I've gone towards her. I've put some pressure on her, insisted that she sat right down, not just stood there, and then walked away. She's looking at me. She's focused. And we cast her off again. Again, she hasn't sat. So I put a bit of pressure on her. And you can see her bottom going down. Run away. Right, so she's now, I was hoping she might get it wrong sooner. Third whistle, first two she was okay. Third one, she's not as perfect. Now, I asked her to sit about a metre away. And she's just done a little creep. As soon as I started coming towards her, she sat down. So what I'm literally going to do is just pick her up, put her back, put her back on the exact spot that I asked her to stop on. Not, oh, yeah, she's close enough. That's not good enough. I'm looking for perfection here, because if I can't get perfection, she's shifting again. If I can't get perfection, sit. In my home training environment, I am absolutely knackered when there's more exciting things going on in the big wide world. So I put her back. I repeat the command a few times. Comes here. Row. Sit up. I repeat the command a few times and I bring myself back to where I was before. So I'm giving her a picture of what she should have learned, what she should have done. This is what I wanted. And then I let her go and we go off again. Row. Hopefully that's given you a good understanding of the sort of process. It's, we've done it in a pretty quick time frame. Can't give all my secrets away. We've done it in a pretty quick time frame. We've done sitting on the lead, sitting off the lead, sitting when they're just in close, sitting when they're coming towards us, sitting when they're running a bit more free, using the ball to encourage them, and then putting them into that more testing environment where there's smells of game and exciting things, letting them go, letting them have a bit of freedom, knowing that, boom, when you blow that whistle, they're going to sit down. And if they don't, you're quick to react. You're being a perfectionist. You're after them. You're putting them back. And away you go. Now, there's a lot of running around. Yesterday I cycled 70 kilometers. Then I got a flat tire and I ran for another 4 or something. I'm not a fitness person. I don't do this sort of thing very often. I was coaxed into it by my wife and a friend, and I like a bit of a challenge. But I guess, all of that, someone said to me, oh, you're a lot fitter than you thought. because I spend my whole life chasing spaniels, I guess. I'm running after them, I'm correcting them, I'm doing something, I'm putting in some energy, I'm putting in some time. And that's what I can't get re-emphasize this enough. You get out what you put in. And if I didn't correct these dogs in an enthusiastic and a quick, effective way, they just wouldn't learn as well. So, repeat it again. You get out what you put in. I hope you've all learned something, and we'll see you again next time.